Hello artists, and welcome back to another video where I'm going to talk about, I think there's an unfortunate narrative when it comes to artists or creatives that begins, I think, even within kind of the school system, that creatives or artists, they are people that go on to have difficult lives in terms of finances. The career paths are not, you're not going to really achieve anything in your life, and you're going to end up, in some dead-end entry-level job somewhere, not doing much with your life, or that, we're weird and like stinky or, or something like that. But I mean, even on a couple of my videos that have had a little bit of attention on this channel, you get people commenting like, "Oh, don't go into art. Don't do this because you're gonna end up cutting sandwiches, and don't do this. This is just a waste of money and time." So that narrative does exist, but you have to ask the question sometimes: why do these narratives exist? And as much as people's, I guess, presentation of certain topics or the way people address something can be negative and aggressive and just wrong sometimes a not so negative narrative has some truth to it. And one of the things I vividly remember from university when I was doing my fine art degree at University of the Arts London was this one lecture we actually had on money and finances. We just had one lecture, and it actually addressed the fact that the average salary of artists, I don't know if this was just within the UK or kind of the West, maybe UK and America, or worldwide, I'm not entirely sure, but they said that the average salary of an artist, the practicing artist, was £10,000. Now, I don't know about where you guys live, but coming from London, understanding London, it's impossible to survive on £10,000. So what does it take to get away from that £10,000 average salary and actually become a successful artist? I think this needs to be spoken about more in university, and they need to, I don't think of course they try and encourage like a good practice and organization, and you have obviously the assessments and the deadlines to kind of keep you working, but I feel like people, when they finish the degree, they're like, okay, what do I do now? And they don't know where to go or what to do. And we live in one of the most we're living in the age of the internet. Endless opportunity everywhere for artists, for, I don't know, filmmakers, many creative people have so much opportunity now. We are living in probably the best time in human history to be an artist because of the internet. That's my conclusion there. But how? Well, first of all, you have to understand that, I've spoken about this before, as an artist, you are an entrepreneur or a business. You have to have this perspective, because if you don't, you will not get anywhere. Because if you are a business or an entrepreneur, then you have a product that you need to promote. You have a product, which is your work, that you need to sell. Now, if you learn how to market that product, find your customers, and sell that product to your customers, then you're a successful business person. You're a successful entrepreneur. But to be a successful entrepreneur is bloody difficult. And you have to constantly work hard every day, not just on making your product, your work, refined to a high enough quality that people will want it, but then you have to go and realize that you have to be studying business models out there that work, studying entrepreneurs who are successful, who are giving out free information on the internet, and then taking that information and applying it to your own context. You can study different types of businesses, different types of business models, see which works for you, and then start to build on that for your own context. One of the reasons I actually made this YouTube channel is not only to obviously try and build my exposure when it comes to my artwork, offer kind of valuable information to students and anyone watching, or artists and creatives who are interested in this whole journey. This channel is to document that journey, because I've only been out of education for a bit over almost 2 years now, probably around 2 years. So I'm still like very, very early on, because I went into my painting BA, my fine art degree, quite late. So I haven't had kind of many years to work this out outside of full-time education, and I didn't even know this really within full-time education. I'm only starting to come around and get the information, and now I'm starting to kind of look into social media marketing. How do I market myself? How do I market my paintings? I'm about to launch my website in a couple of weeks, and then after that I'm going to start marketing, work out how to market, work out how to get customers, work out how to ship, see if I can even sell anything in the first place. So I'm going to kind of be documenting all of this as I go along. I'll teach you my wins, you can learn from my fails, and we'll see how that goes. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you're interested in that artistic journey, then don't forget to subscribe. But those of you who know my channel, you know I'm not about any kind of negative vibes. I'm all about practical, positive information. But this, I have to be real in this video. Like, I don't think that there are a lot of people out there, they think that they're gonna go into art. They don't necessarily have a drive or a reason, or maybe they just don't love it enough to realize how much work you have to put in to actually be successful as an independent artist. And then you have to ask the kind of question, if they don't have that drive in them, then what is the point of them spending that money on that degree? Because the fine art degree doesn't really have much of a purpose when it comes to going into a specific career, especially fine art. I'm talking specifically about fine art. If you want to talk about the more kind of the graphics, illustration, maybe some kind of form of creative media where you specialize in something like that, there's more kind of purpose, you could say, to work for companies. But as for fine art, you're independent, you're a business, you're that entrepreneur, end of story. So you either go and find people who are going to help you build your reputation, build your career. But being picked up by like a famous gallery is kind of like coming out of a music degree, some kind of music degree, and saying, yeah, I'm going to be picked up by a big label. Like, it can happen. I'm not saying that it's not, but how many people in your year, if anyone, if you're doing a music degree, is going to go on and become a famous musician? So you really need to kind of think about the reality, think about how do you practically move forward, not just as an artist, not just regarding your work, but as a business person. Is your mental health in touch? How is your physical health? All of these things are going to affect your practice. You know, if you're left on your own at home, which is going to be the case when you're working self-employed as an artist, if that's the ideal situation you want to be in, have enough of an income so that you're self-employed and you can kind of control your own sales, make enough money to put food on your plate and put a roof above your head. That's what you need. But if you're left at home on your own, what do you find yourself doing? If you watch Netflix for 8 hours, you can kiss goodbye to a successful career in art. Like, seriously, I'm just gonna put it there. And I tell this to myself, you know, if I want to sit down and play PlayStation or Nintendo Switch for 6-7 hours every single day, no. And it's like, kiss goodbye to my painting, kiss goodbye to anything. And then, yeah, I mean, no offense to anyone who makes sandwiches. There's absolutely, I think I admire people who, if you need to go into that entry-level job to provide for yourself, I've done it myself. I've worked in supermarkets myself. I have no shame in saying this. Whether it be a part-time job to support what you truly want to do. And, you know, when I get back to London, if I happen to go through my savings and then I have no more to invest in my marketing and I can't sell my paintings, I will have to go and get a job. And I have no problem with that either. So you have to do what you got to do in your context, depending on your context. So you just have to think about these things practically. What's the next step? What's the next step about developing as a person? How do I become more efficient? How do I become more hardworking? How do I refine my knowledge surrounding business, marketing? How am I going to sell my work? Your university will not teach you this. They will not. And I commented that in my recent podcast, but I think the world is evolving too quickly for universities to truly offer an education that is up to date with the current world. I think that's a problem that universities have, and I don't know how they're going to solve it. So in conclusion, I don't know if this turned into a little bit of a rant. I don't want it. I would rather it be positive and educational, but real at the same time. Do you have what it takes to become an artist? You have to ask yourself that. And ask yourself, you know, are you a good enough boss for yourself? And if not, how do you make yourself a good enough boss? Because if you're not a good enough boss, you're going to be making sandwiches for some douchebag somewhere. So unless you like making sandwiches for a douchebag, or maybe not a douchebag, but you get the point what I'm trying to say. Like, even myself, I'm saying as a person, as an artist, I have to improve like this much. A lot, basically. But you have to have this mindset when it comes to art, a successful art career, and moving forward. So I'm hoping that I will be able to document my own journey. And as I said, subscribe if you'd like to learn from that journey, my wins and my fails, learn from it all. And hopefully you will be able to kind of maybe mimic or take something from what I do and apply it to your own career, and hopefully you'll get some value out of that. If you have any questions or comments to make, please make them below or message me privately on Instagram. And with that, I can now say my like and subscribe. Yeah, I'm still awkward at these outros, but here is my awkward goodbye. Quite the end.